Invading has been a mechanic in video games for as long as I can possibly remember. Many games play with the idea. Games like Watch Dogs, Destiny 2, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and today's topic of discussion, Elden Ring. Out of all the games I just mentioned, Elden Ring Invasions is absolutely the most polarizing implementation and the one that leaves the community the most divided, but why? Well, before I get into that, allow me to explain how invading works in Elden Ring for those of you who aren't too savvy to the subject. Like most other From Software titles, Elden Ring features a co-op system that allows other players to join your world so that you guys can tackle the challenge of the game together. This makes the game much easier. Like, much easier, but at a cost. Anytime a fellow Tarnished joins your world, you are automatically at risk to be invaded by other players. As an invader, the one and only goal that you have is to kill the host. If you do that, you win, your opponent loses all their progress and have to start from the last checkpoint. Now, you can imagine why that's a frustrating system for some people, which brings me to my first talking point. I believe that it could be argued that Elden Ring is From Software's most accessible game given the changes such as the transition to open world that allows you to explore other regions if one particular one is giving you trouble, the introduction of the Mimic tier, which is the most busted NPC summon of all time, and the fact that you are given the first co-op item in the game within the first 10 minutes of playing. All of this makes the game much easier than previous entries, which invites a much larger and a much more casual audience. A lot of these people don't really care about difficulty or overcoming a massive hurdle. They just want to have a chill time on the game, and that is where the Division comes in. If you're a longtime From Software fan like myself, then you know that these games are not very welcoming. Games like Dark Souls 3 force you to fight Dex? I never really knew how to pronounce this guy's name. Hold on, let me look it up really quickly. Gundyr? Wait, no. Udex Gundyr. Oh, I was right. Huh. The more you know. Anyways, games like Dark Souls 3 force you to fight Udex Gundyr before you can do anything in the game, which to vets like us isn't really that bad, but to a newbie, that's like prime Mike Tyson fighting a malnourished middle schooler. Bloodborne pits you into Central Yharnam as the starting area of the game, which I believe could be argued to be one of the most challenging starting areas in From Software's entire catalog. I mean, think about it. You got the Lycans, you got the angry crowd of Yharnamites, especially the one with the torches that'd be like... And don't get me started on Father Motherfucking Gascoigne.
You better stop! Stop!
Or how about Sekiro, which doesn't have multiplayer or NPC summons, which means if you're stuck on a boss, unless you get good, you're fucked. All of that to say, us From Software vets are used to getting psychologically tormented and developing Stockholm Syndrome. As a vet, hearing people say they want to have a chill time on a FromSoft game can be like a military veteran hearing a private say they want to take it easy during boot camp. It's like no, you gotta get out the mud the way I did. Is this a toxic way of thinking? Yes. Do I happen to think like this just a little bit? Also yes. But From Software knows that co-op would trivialize the game, which is why they added Invasions to begin with, because let's be honest, FromSoft didn't really design the game to be played with 2+ people. Most of the enemies' AI isn't designed to be attacked from the back while they're facing the other way. Yes, they have double HP, but when your partner is a level 175 wizard using Comet Azure, that doesn't really matter too much, does it? However, being invaded by another player kind of adds back that difficulty that was taken away when your friend joined, because while all the enemies you're fighting have set movesets, set paths, set abilities with zero to little deviation, another player is another human being capable of independent thought just like you, and complex decision-making skills just like you, which means that when going up against a competent invader, instead of overpowering them, you have to outsmart them. And to be fair, for a person that works a 9 to 5, has a wife, kids, and a few hours to play a week, if even that, such an experience can be a bit daunting in all honesty. When there are games out there such as Helldivers that allow you to play with friends without getting bent over in doggy style, it makes you wonder why even add this annoying system into the game, which, I mean, I understand. But that's only one reason as to why people dislike the idea of invasions. Another reason I've seen as to why people hate invaders is because as to why they believe that, let's take a look at the rewards that you get for a successful invasion. Yeah, it's a single rune arc, so basically nothing. Yeah, you really get nothing. No stats, no rank, no leaderboard. If you invade, you're really just doing it for the love of the game. Alfred said it best, actually.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
But in truth, as someone who spent countless hours doing Elden Ring invasions, there's admittedly a sinister pleasure in being the obstacle in someone else's path. It's like a power fantasy that makes you feel like a tarnish hunter. It's almost as if you're the next boss that someone has to fight, and being triumphant in a moment like that it's an enjoyable time. There's very few video game experiences that are like it. Admittedly, such a thought process is a bit toxic by wanting to deliberately stunt someone's progress for really no reason or reward, if we're gonna be completely real. This is without mentioning the behavior that some invaders will engage in, such as, not limited to, excessive teabagging, mean messages, killing someone as they're fighting a world boss, dropping dung pots on their corpse, and if all of that wasn't enough, guard spamming over your dead body. But talking about this presents an opportunity for me to bring up one of the most hated items in Elden Ring's invasion community, the Taunter's Tongue. If you don't know what this is, 1, bless your heart. 2, this is an item that essentially lures an invader into your world. As I previously mentioned, you are at risk for being invaded when playing co-op with a friend, but you typically don't know when you're going to be invaded, so an invader typically will be able to catch you by surprise. However, the Taunter's Tongue essentially gives you a level of control when it comes to being invaded, allowing you to pull invaders into your world however you see fit. I've seen people use this in very creative ways, such as doing a full solo run by having a Taunter's Tongue active throughout the entire time, or creating fight clubs where you can do little tournaments and watch as a spectator. But the way that most people will utilize the Taunter's Tongue is by partaking in a very, very controversial form of PvP known as ganking. Ganking is basically when you, along with some other co-op partners, intentionally lure an invader into your world and overwhelm them with an immense amount of force. When ganking, you're typically using the strongest armor in the game, the strongest weapons in the game, and you and your friends are typically all on the offensive on the same exact time. And it's not like that shit that they do in cartoons where it's one person attacking at one time. No. They're all going at you at the same exact time, one cheek per person. They're going head on, taking no prisoners. The sole purpose of ganking is to trap and kill invaders over and over and over again, some sessions even being for hours at a time. Ganking is performed by players for a few reasons, one such being revenge. As I mentioned earlier, and the whole reason I'm making this video, people don't really like being invaded. Perhaps invaders ruin your night several times or cause you to lose a massive amount of runes on multiple occasions. You want payback, but maybe you're not the best PvP player. Well, now you and a couple of other Tarnished can unleash the pain on invaders that they have dealt to you. Some see this as a noble form of protection by keeping players from being invaded and taking the brunt of invaders themselves, and hopefully making them rage quit, reducing the overall invader population. Some people do it for the same exact reason that other invaders invade. Hey Alfred, do me that favor, say that shit one more time for me, alright?
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Appreciate that, my man, dap me up. Now, here's the point where you could say that there may be some hypocrisy here from the invaded, because if invading is considered toxic since you're ruining the fun of other players, you could say the same thing about ganking, given the main and only point to do it is to ruin the fun of the invader. But the thing is that some people are aware of that, and they don't care, since their rage of invaders is so massive that they're okay with being the villain if it means they get to cause them a little bit of pain. A common point made by invaders is that it's a mechanic in the game. If From Software didn't want us to do it, then they wouldn't have added it as a mechanic. But you could also say the same exact thing about the Taunter's Tongue. My only advice to any fellow invaders out there that happen to run into a gank, just leave. Ganks are specifically curated to make sure that you get fucked. Unless you're Ouroboros or Chase the Bro here, the chances of you actually winning an engagement like this are very slim. There's no shame in tactical retreat. Sometimes you just gotta run away from your problems. Well, that's not always the best thing to do. It works sometimes, and these times are such times. Let's move on to our next and final point. Take a look at Reddit. The dominant opinion that you're gonna find among these people that are complaining about invasions is that it's happening against their will. There's no contract or agreement being signed saying, I don't know, I, Sir Jingle Boobus the 14th, am I hereby agreeing to having an invader come and take a dookie on my head. The common rebuttal to this argument is that you did agree to it the moment you invite another player to team up. It's a you can't have your cake and eat it too sort of thing. I understand and I sympathize with the point of making invasions being opt-in, but my question is, how would something like that even work? In order to make invading be something that a player even wants to opt in to, there has to be an incentive. In Elden Ring's current system, there is none really. I hate to say it, but most of us aren't ready to get on our knees and start begging Miyazaki for rune arcs. There has to be something aspirational and desirable to make players say, yeah, okay, I'm okay with being invaded, that's what I'm getting. As for what that thing could be, well, I don't know, I'm not a game developer, but I do have some ideas that I could throw out in there. It can't be a weapon because the moment that people get that weapon, people aren't going to opt in no more. Dark Souls 3 did it in a very interesting way because in this game, there was different factions that you could pledge yourself to called covenants. Depending on the covenant that you were with, you'd be expected to tackle multiplayer in a different way. Warriors of Sunlight wanted you to help other players defeat bosses, Blue Sentinels wanted you to defend hosts against other players, and Rosaria's Fingers, also known as Slug Mommy, wanted you to invade other players. Successfully completing these objectives will grant you progress for your covenant, which allowed you to purchase different items such as miracles, rings, or weapons. But same issue existed here. When you unlock your faction's respective items, there wasn't much of a point to do it anymore. Now, allow me to throw a wrench into the mix. Bloodborne. Bloodborne also had a co-op/invasion system, and successful completions granted you items such as Vermin if you were in the League faction, or Blood Dregs if you were in the Vile Blood faction. I'm not the only one that thinks this looks like sperm cells, right? Because come on, my man, look at this shit. You can't make this shit up. When you were turning these items in, you could increase your rank with your faction, and get this. There was a leaderboard. If you look at it today, there's some nutty goofballs who actually took the time to get the max number on the leaderboards. You think you're so special, Gabby D939, don't you?
Look at this dude.
But my point to all this blabbering is that if you wanted to make PvP opt-in, people need a reason, and perhaps siding with a faction and climbing leaderboards could possibly give people a reason to do such a thing. Maybe it gave you something cool for turning faction tokens in? Is this a flawed idea that maybe only 7% of Elden Ring players would care about? Yeah, but I told you, I'm not a game developer. I'm just the guy on the internet wearing pajama pants right now, so what the hell you want from me? But here's the thing that I know for a fact. Nothing on planet Earth will make some people that play FromSoft games okay with being invaded. Some concepts are just a little too polarizing to make everyone agree with one particular side, and invading is one of them. People are just likely to hate invaders until the end of the time, and you know what? That's alright. People are entitled to their opinions, and they can play the game however they want. If the preferred way to play Elden Ring is after a hard day of work, logging on with some friends, and chilling while exploring the lands between, then hey man, to each their own. Just know that I will be coming to ruin your time by invading with unendurable frenzy, and there will be nothing your friends can do but sit and watch as you get stun locked into oblivion. And that's the video. Tell me your opinions on invading in the comments below. Do you love invasions? Do you hate invasions? Does this video suck, or did I do a good job? Tell me everything, because I read everything for the most part. If you like the video, you should like it, and if you want more of it, then you should subscribe, because I mean, like, it's free. Also, all of my social media things are going to be linked in the description. But as for now, I will be disappearing. Just not as long as I was gone before, because that was kind of crazy. But I will be back in another video. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.